happened? Where am I? Am I alive yet?
Ooh, the Harry Potter nerds are pissed. Oh, you Harry Potter nerds. Shouldn't be making fun of you, but you guys, you guys are a bunch of nerds. You guys are pissed. If you're not pissed at the author of the books, you're pissed at the actors of the movies, or you're pissed at the decisions they're making for different series. How's it going again? So I'm sure you know what we're talking about here. If you don't, listen, I'll put it out there. I'm not a Harry Potter fan. I could give two donkey testicles plus bull testicles about it. If you are, it's cool. That's your thing. If it makes you happy, good for you. Happy for you. Glad something in this world makes you smile. But for me, it just never appealed to me. I've only seen one of the movies. That was the first one. And like bits and pieces of a few of them, but I couldn't even tell you which of the 20 Harry Potter movies they went to. Saw one flying on a broom, chasing a golden ball. Some weird underfed baby thing in a dream somewhere. Terrorist attacking a soccer gathering. Giant spiders. Yeah, I don't. That's. Whatever it belongs. I don't know. Whatever it is. It just wasn't my thing. Okay, if it was your thing, again, that's cool. It is whatever. But through the years, they are a fan base. You Potterers are a fan base that gets extremely, how do I say, combative, possessive about your fandom and about that particular property. I get it. I'm a Star Wars guy. I don't get crazy like go online and complain or do any of that type of stuff. But you do see that. I wasn't a fan of the most recent Star Wars shows and movies. You can go back and see that. But Harry Potter fans, shoo, you guys, man, when somebody bends your wand, you guys get a little pissed. So put this nicely. They got mad at the creator because she spoke out against trans. So there were a lot of people that disavowed her, turned their backs on her, hated her. Said that she should be kept away from the books and the future books or the future products, even though it's her creation. But so she has says what she has said, and it's pissed a portion of that community off. But the latest one is rather interesting. It is for a series that they're going to have, and so they're casting people for the different roles of the different characters. And I'll be honest, I don't know when this is supposed to take place. I don't know if it's supposed to be like before Potter, like between the time periods after the more recent movies and his before he got there. So I guess it would take place in like the 70s or 80s. So I think we just found out recently like Harry Potter takes place between 91 and 98. So they're doing a series and they're recasting, and one of the recasts that they have done was for Snape. I think his name is Snape. He was the one that's played by Alan Rickman. I am the evil wizard who loved Harry Potter's mother. Um, so his character was recast, and you would think that they would find somebody that is somewhat similar, or maybe looks like a younger version of Alan Rickman, but instead they went with a black dude. And apparently that was enough to piss people piss people off. Which I get it, man. Not with the racial stuff, because you got a lot of racial people out there. I get that. I get people are gonna have their racial side of them. But I do understand how you Potter fans are pissed at the race swapping. Which I would be pissed if they did that with I was going to say with Han Solo, but then I just thought, I mean, they already had a black Han Solo that was Lando Calrissian. Well, they tried to do that with in the new Star Wars movies when that black actor came in, and they teased it as if he was like a Jedi and was kind of like this Luke figure, and people went ape shit. Like, I think that was more racial than anything. Like, if you were going to do a new series with the Star Wars stuff, and then you make Luke Skywalker a black dude, you're gonna have pissed people, and it's not. Again, it's there's a small portion of people out there that are gonna be pissed because it has to do with race. I'm not excluding that at all, but the larger portion is you've already had these characters that are based, that are there. They've already been there. They're in the zeitgeist. They're in the popularity. They're in everybody's mind is what they should be. They've reached that icon status, and it's hard to even replace them with a different actor, let alone somebody that's of the opposite sex or somebody that's of the opposite race. That's just how it is. Does it work sometimes? Sometimes it does. I mean, there's been characters out there that nobody's cared about, and they've switched the sex or they switched the race, and it ended up better than what that character was before. But when you come to properties like this, it's hard to have um, a drastic swap. I shouldn't say swipe, swap of a character um, in these situations. And as you can see, like this guy here, we have another and long line and lazy virtual signaling race swaps with Snape now being black, further reinforcing that we only see legitimacy in white characters, and think black should seal clap just because this Harry Potter show just tanked itself. I want to see what he says.
Well, the dumbasses did it. They actually race swapped Snape to be black. You know, a character that's vividly described in the books as being thin, having sallow skin, a long crooked nose, and black greasy hair. When they heard black and greasy, they must have thought, oh, let's cast a nigga in this role. It's so insulting.
All right, well, there's that. So I see, yeah, people upset. Again, I mean, this just reinforces the individuals that that blame woke and blame the studios for being pushing narratives, pushing their view of things, whatever it may be. This just enforces that narrative, and I get it. If you're a new actor or you're a new director or a producer or whatever, and you're doing a movie, I can understand if it's your own property that you created, that you're going to have certain characters that look either specifically like you, or they're going to look at like different segments of society or whatever, because that's what you want to make it as, that's what you wrote it as, that's what you want to direct it as. That's your right to do that. When you have properties like this that have been around now, I mean, Harry Potter's been around for 24 years, 20, the books longer, but the movies, since at least 2001. So yeah, 24 years. Um, that's been engraved in people's minds. That's in their memories. That's who they see. It's like what was happening with James Bond when there were the rumors that they were going to make James Bond black and even possibly a woman, and people freaked out. And again, you had some people, yeah, you had some racists came out that they didn't want to see a black man and sexist a woman in that space. But the majority of it is James Bond is James Bond. He's just an English white dude that has a sexy accent and kicks ass and swoos women. And that's who that character is. And some people have backed off on it because there was like, I guess it was Idris Alba was possibly talked about doing, and everybody loves Idris Alba, so that they were like, oh yeah, we could see that. But it's one of those things where you can't take a pop cultural or a movie icon and then switch it up because it looks like it almost seems like I'll say this, it almost seems like a scam to me. It seems like you are trying to squeeze a little bit more money out of that character that you can, but you're afraid if you do it the same way, you won't get as much. So you're going to try to switch the character, either race, sex, or whatever wise, to make it seem like it's a new, a new whatever. And it almost seems like you're trying to generate more money off of that than actually just doing it the regular way and probably seeing more benefits of it that way. Um, but yeah, I mean, this just feeds into those narratives of the studios, either be Hollywood or either it be now in Atlanta, whatever the studios they are, it just leads into them being out of touch. I know there's that Doctor Who show. I don't never really watch an episode of Doctor Who, so I don't have anything negative or positive to say about that. But I saw a lot of people in the last season or two were upset because Doctor Who became, I think, he's at least black, but I don't know if he's also homosexual in it. I think the actor is, but I'm not sure if he is. So I apologize if I'm wrong on that, but I know he's a black dude, and that has had upset a lot of people. Um, Again, many reasons why. But it's just one of those things where I think in terms of maybe a series like that where Doctor Who is changed every few years, where it's a different guy and then became, I think, a woman at one point. I think you can kind of get away with that, especially with just maybe like people like me that don't really care for the show or never really seen it, where it's just not that big of a deal. I mean, I know that they keep changing the doctors like every 3 or 4 years. There's a new Doctor Who, and in the last couple times it's been a woman and then a black dude. And I don't know if it's people are upset because of that, or if it is the whole sexist, racist thing. Which again, I'm sure it's there, but I think moreover, it's the messing with the property. It's a messing with the icon status of those particular characters that annoy people. Um, and for this particular for this actor, I mean, you have to kind of feel bad for him because he's just acting. He got offered a role maybe of a lifetime for him. He's getting paid maybe the most money he's ever been paid in his life. I don't know. I don't know anything about him. Um, and now, I mean, all it's going to be is just hate responses. And I mean, you can't really blame the people for that, even though, I mean, you shouldn't be targeting individuals because they took a job to help them, stay afloat or to help their family stay afloat or to eat or to possibly be their break to, bigger, better things. But I get why people get upset about that because, again, like I'm a Star Wars guy. Um, those last couple movies were just trash. A few of the series were trash. But at the same time, I didn't go on social media to look these actors, actresses, directors, writers, whatever out and just completely dog them into the ground. I think that's a horrible thing. I don't think you should do that. They're just trying to make a living, even if their view of things and the way they want to preach and talk about them can be upside down, stupid nonsense. It is their right, and you have the right not to watch it, or to go and gripe online just about how bad the series is without targeting the individual. So I feel bad for this guy because either way, let's say he takes the job and stays with it and stays as Snape. Um, you're gonna have people that decide to either one not watch the show or hate watch the show to where they'll just be on social media crapping on it the entire time. Or he steps back, or the studio decides, okay, we got to make a change, and this gentleman here loses a job that could have changed his life, that could have promoted him into other movies or another level of stardom that could have helped him. So I mean, it puts him in a weird spot, and I think it's one of those things where if he would have been like a more established, bigger actor, I think they would have recognized, like, no, this is not for me. You're going to catch hell. Find somebody else and passed on it. But again, I think this is an individual that just really wanted a job or really needed a job or was going to get paid more and took it. And so you can't hate on him for doing that. I mean, he took a job that was offered to him. But so you got just tons of people. I mean, they're just pissed because people going in again with the book saying it describes a thin male, greasy black hair, hook nose, pale white skin. Man, I don't know what series is it on. It's got to be on like whatever Universal streaming is because it's with Universal. So what is that? Peacock? Is this on Peacock? Oh no, it's on HBO Max. Okay. Man, it's not gonna go over well for these individuals. Because look, like Star Wars had the Acolyte, and that one got hate watched and completely trashed on to where it didn't even get a season 2. The last 2 Star Wars movies, The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, they got hate watched and hate tweeted, which they probably, I mean, I don't want to say like hate like racial or sex hate, but hate like they were garbage movies, like they should have. They were garbage movies to the ground to where it just destroyed, I mean, most of the future of that franchise. And I get how Hollywood, they try to get to dry every dime and nickel out of a property. That's understandable. And doing different series or whatever. But you also, why not? Why hasn't there been, a series in the future? Maybe even with Harry Potter's kid or past Harry Potter's kid. Like go 30 or 40 years and introduce new wizards and introduce Ryan Gosling is there you go. Introduce other new characters and go from there. I guess with the studio, you're going to stick with particular names because that's what's going to get people to watch. Whereas if you introduce individuals, people might not decide to watch it. But I mean, that's a part of the risk you take. And it's not like the studios are putting anything massively out. I mean, look what just happened with these last Oscars in 2025. Nobody saw any of those movies, except for maybe Wicked. Nobody cared to see any of those movies. Okay, so the one that won, and it won, and like that, I think they said that movie, Sonora, whatever it is, only cost like $6 million to make, but they spent $18 million promoting it to the people of the guild and of these awards to basically get them the win. They spent more money buying the awards, buying the Oscars than they did actually trying to promote this movie or put into that movie. And nobody saw nobody saw it. But I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm sure all these Harry Potter fans are just straight up pissed, and I'm scared to go in these messages because I'm sure there's just gonna be people dropping just all sorts of racial nonsense in here. Um, yeah, I mean, they're just they're just see, and this guy's going in. Remember when no one knew who John Boyega was until he landed at Star Wars rule? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the racists are about to make him a household name. Okay, look. Yeah, nobody knew who John Boyega was in that Star Wars. He had done a few movies, but it was over in England. And there were ones that just didn't I won't say translate, that just didn't make it over to the States. Were there racists that went after him? Of course. I mean, you're always going to get that. That's just a part of life. But the writing of his character from that first movie to the second and then to the third was horrible. His acting was not the best. The fact that they baited the fans into having him hold the saber in his hand as if he was going to be a Jedi or train or whatever it may be was stupid. I mean, let's be straight up honest. It was stupid. At no point did any of the characters in the first three movies pick up Luke's lightsaber, turn it on, and think that they could become a Jedi. It just didn't happen. I think maybe Han held it one time, but it was just like, no, I'd rather have my gun. And it was one of those things where if they would have made his character more streamlined on what he was, as if he was a gun runner, or as if he was a fist fighter, or as if he was a pilot, or if he was something, if it was just streamlined on that, people would have loved that character more. People would have loved that trilogy more. But the problem was you had him just bouncing left and right, up and down, middle left, upside down, diagonal, and he didn't even know what he was. So the audience hated it because it felt like it was just being shoved in. It's like, oh, well, here he is again. Oh, now he's driving. He's going to drive into the bad guys here on this on this harvester. I mean, you know what? Hope he gets marked off because he's stupid. There was just no reason for his character. I mean, he went from having that love interest in the second one to then just she completely disappeared because of everything with that. And he had a new love interest, and then he's riding long-haired horses in space on a spaceship, for Christ's sakes. It wasn't so much racist with John Boyega than it was they did that character so bad. In this particular one, first off, it's going to be a series, and it's going to be on HBO and Max. So it's not like it was a movie where people could actually go in a theater and see it. You have to have HBO Max to see this thing. So if they don't see it, it's not going to be as big as like the movie, like Star Wars was when it came out, and he took all that heat because it was overhyped on the trailers and overhyped this. The only people that are actually going to see this is if they're looking if they see a trailer on TV or have HBO Max. So for them to say it's going to make him a household name, probably not. It'll people will register, for this day or two because it's hot news. And maybe when the day the series comes out, but after that, unless the series is really good and people just watch it and don't mind it, you're just not going to have people that want to watch it, and they're just not going to care for it. And it's just going to be maybe just a role for him that didn't work out. Again, you don't wish that on him because my man is just trying to make a career out of things, but they got The Rock looking like him, Terry Crews. Yeah, yeah, you got the people saying the DEI agenda. I don't know. Maybe that is a part of it. Maybe that is. I don't know. But man, I mean, it's hard to take, like I said, a character who is an icon or a character who, I mean, granted, a lot of these people now that are in their 20s and 30s grew up, and some people in their 40s, I mean, not me, grew up with Alan Rickman being Snape. Snape? Snape. And that's how they see him as. And they're not going to get over that. And if you as a studio, again, I mean, as I'm not a Harry Potter person, but it's still in the prime. It's still raking in money. I mean, they just had a video game come out like a year or so ago, and it was the top video game for a number of months. I mean, they're just raking in money to do something like this, which is kind of drastic. I don't know what the studio was thinking, or if it was the casting director, or whoever. It's not a good look. Honestly, if you would have, I don't know who's the big giant guy, whoever the big giant guy is in that series and movie. If they would have made that dude black, I don't think people would have cared. If they would have made Harry black, I don't think people would have cared. If they would have made the evil kid, I don't know, little snotty little Macaulay Culkin little kid, if they would have made him black, I don't think people would have cared. Or maybe even any of the other professors, I don't think they would even cared. But it's Alan Rickman made that character. I'll give him that much, and it's also because Alan Rickman died. And I think what one of his last couple roles was was Snape. And so yeah, I mean, man, you're gonna take it, man. You're gonna take it in the nose. And for the people that are just saying it's just about race, that's not true. There are a portion of people out there that are gonna make this about race. There's always gonna be that. And if you can't, and if that bothers you, or if you can't understand that, then I'm sorry, you're an idiot. There has always been racist in this world. There will always be racist in the world. But just because people don't like that they now made Snape a black man doesn't make them racist. It messes with how you feel about this particular property. It messes with your thought process on it, messes with your nostalgic feelings on it. It does not make you racist because you don't want to see a black person. It does not make you sexist because you don't want to see a woman playing a particular character that you grew up with as a child, that you might have even played or acted out as a child. It doesn't make you any of those things because they've changed it over. You can't see it. It's not part of what you understand or grew up with. And I'm sure some people are going to sit there and say, "Oh, well, you're being a racist and a sexist." No, I'm not. Honestly, in this particular case, I could care less. Again, this isn't my this isn't my series. I don't care. I'd say good luck to the gentleman. I hope he does well. But I do get why Harry Potter fans are pissed. And if you don't, and if you're the one making this all about race or about sex, you need to have your head checked. And I'm not saying like that in the people that are racist or sexist. I'm saying that in you going, oh, well, I'm going to be a high virtue on this, and I can't believe you're acting like this because they race swapped or sex swapped them. Oh, you got to be better. No, dipshit. No, don't act that way either. If somebody was to make a Fat Albert movie and go, you know what? We're making him skinny, we're making him white, and we're making him a chick. It's going to be Fat Alberta, but she's skinny, redheaded, freckled, and white. How many black people, black Americans, and fans of that show would be pissed? What if they redid Family Matters and did it with all white people? Or what? Hey, how about this? What if they redid Family Matters, but they then made Steve Urkel a white kid? You would be pissed. And I would be pissed right along there with you because that shouldn't happen. But you know what? You would also be considered a racist because you can't see a white person playing a black person's role. So we got to get over that nonsense of that the only reason people don't like a race change or a sex change is because they're racist or they're sexist. The large portion of it is not that. There's a small portion of people that are that, correct, but not the entire population, not the entire people that don't like it. Honestly, though, I think I wouldn't mind seeing a Family Matters reboot with a white nerdy kid. I think that'd be pretty funny. That might need to be something that I need to look into. But hey, sorry, Potters fans. Like I said, I could care less. I mean, I'm not going to watch it. I don't care. But you know, just don't hate. Find this guy, this actor. If he has any social media, don't go after him. That's where you're getting on another level of craziness, another level of lunacy. Go after the studio. Go after HBO Max, and you know, do what people used to do back in the day. You know, write letters of protest about how you're not going to watch the show or how you're not going to spend money at that thing again. Go after them. Don't go after the actor. That dude's just trying to live and trying to make it in this world. The last thing he needs is a bunch of nerdy people living in their mom's basement, twirling a bent fucking wand around while popping Baja Mountain Dew blast cans and snorting, you know, sugar pixie up their nose, you know, sending him messages about how they hate that he's the new Snape. Fucking weirdos. All right. Well, that's the rant on that today. Hey, like, subscribe, comment if you don't like, or if you do like, do the thing. And hey, get outside more, people. Definitely get outside more. Enjoy the air. I know up north it's still kind of cold. Down here where I am, it's freaking lovely. Getting outside more. Please get outside more and find that good earth and dig it, man. Find that good earth and dig it, baby. All right, take care of yourselves.